Well, guys, welcome to Coaching with Chris. I am pretty excited because not only do I get to have a organic conversation with a really good friend, but get to talk business, get to talk loan officers, get to talk about the market. But if you're not following Coaching with Chris, please do me a favor. I don't ask very often, but please follow me. Please share with me. I would love it if you would do it. And of course, you could listen to it in multiple different facets, whether it's a podcast or you want to watch it on YouTube as a video. But let me introduce my guest. Years ago, I got to meet Tom, and I just immediately, I remember meeting him in Minneapolis at a dinner. I went up to view and to be able to visit. They're moving into a brand new space. I'll never forget this day. Moving into a brand new space, got the tour. We went out to dinner, and I left that dinner saying, I've got to build a relationship with Tom. He's a mover, he's a shaker, but he's doing amazing things, and he supports this mortgage community like no one I've ever been. Like, I'll be traveling and going across the country, and they're like, yeah, Tom, help me. Yeah, Tom, help me. And I'm just like, what? And that just even wanted me to get to know Tom even more, get to know his beautiful wife, and I've got to hang out and golf, and he's a way better golfer than me, but I've been able to golf with him a few times. And so with all of that said, like, it's just a blessing to be able to have Tom on Coaching with Chris. So Tom, are you here?
Here and ready, my friend. Thank you. Appreciate you having me here today.
Yeah. So look, I remember saying when we at the very beginning of this year in 2025, and I think maybe you probably said it too, is that 2025 is going to look like 2024. We're going to have some yo-yos. It's going to go up and down. We're not going to see major things. So we've just got to stick to the work. And I feel like you've done that as good as anyone, of sticking to just the work and not paying attention to what rates are. Every time we have a rate discussion, you poo-poo that and put me right back on track of, no, we just got to do the work. Like, how do you keep your mindset on that and not pay attention to over in this left hand?
Yeah, I mean, one, we've both been in the industry long enough that I'm probably a couple years behind on your hairstyle, but getting closer. Right?
You could go to Turkey. You could go to Turkey.
You gotta control the controllables, right?
Yeah.
And one of probably the biggest punches in the face that I ever took in 08 was realizing, we have seen lower levels of originations since 08. Even if you went to, I don't know the exact year, but if I looked at it, there was actually less mortgage originations even after 08 in our current times. Yet there are people thriving. When I looked at, the most successful people in any business come at the time of adversity. Yeah. And, going through a failure at one point in this industry and realizing that it wasn't the industry that failed, it was me that failed. And looking and understanding that, we have pity parties sometimes. And even I get them, I'll be to the point to where I'm pretty, down to where I really got to look and like, we're so lucky, right? We really are. I mean, one, we get to help people with the largest financial transaction of their life. Yeah. We manage the largest asset class in our country, which is real estate and the land that we mortgage, the houses, shelter. It's really just a blessing to be able to do it. And it really comes down to effort out is always going to show results. And, I've used some of the things from your playbook when I went out there, and, you remember when I did this and I said, hey, would you mind sharing that with me? And we took some of the things that you've learned through your experiences, through the core, through the coaching that you've went through, and having great mentors that have helped form you, to where for me, probably one of the biggest changes, and I'm still working on this today, is like, you got to be okay sometime to ask for help, right? Because if you think you know it all, you're going to lose, because the reality is, like, we're better working together and saying, you know what, Tom, hey, we will have a pricing conversation from time to time. And it's normally, okay, well, great. Yeah. Maybe we're 20 basis points off. However, our speed, our service, our follow-up, this isn't a nonprofit. We have a business to run, and we have to prepare for the storm. Yeah. But for me, it's really just been trying to focus on the things that are right in front of me that are non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Taking out of your playbook and looking at that, for me, it's still the reps every day, right? Like, even if we talked about playing golf together, that's fun. Right? I love it. That's part of life and connecting. However, that doesn't mean you stop working, right? It doesn't mean that if somebody's texting me with an emergency that I'm too busy. Like, we still can live life and still work hard. But if you have an accurate inventory of what your business is today and where you want to go tomorrow, and that's looking at you, for me, it's in front of me nonstop. And I changed my background a tad bit because my buddy did that for me, based on a goal that I set 2 years ago, right? I said, you know what? My goal is to get to 5,000 transactions per month. And I don't want to do it with 5,000 loan officers. I said, because what happens is I'm surrounded by a bunch of people that are struggling. And we've really tried to focus on, how to execute daily without excuses, right? Your greatness tracker really helped with that. And I've shared that with so many people to where it's not rocket science. Nowadays with ChatGPT, put in your goals of like, look at your very best month ever. And believe it or not, it wasn't luck. Like, luck is being in the right place at the right time. However, you had to be there. You had to go meet that person that all of a sudden you formed that relationship with the person that's now your VIP referral client. Like, yeah, it's lucky. Okay, I'll buy that a little bit. But even buying a Powerball ticket, yes, you're lucky to win it. But guess what? I never bought one. So I don't even have the chance to get lucky. So after so many times of doing the activities, the results are going to come. You just have to stay focused on what it is that you control. And that's really where I've been.
I kind of get in awe a little bit because you have how many loan officers today?
We're right around 1,200, I think, today.
Okay. So 1,200 loan officers. And I know that your average loans per LO is growing. And you've worked really, really, really hard on that. The last, would you call it 12 to 18, 24 months, it's been a mission to be able to grow that number. Like, what is the magic number for Tom?
To me, I would be happy with an average of 3, right? 3 per, because the way that, unlike some companies, some you might need to make 5 or 6, but for us, everybody that works at Edge is kind of like their own boss. They're kind of like if they own their own little franchise aspect, to where if you're doing 3 a month, you're making well over 6 figures. You're paying your bills. You're not too broke that you can't pay attention. And you're always trying to do better. And, 2023 was the year that we really just kind of put the gas on it. Right. And I said, okay, we were at, I want to say maybe like 300 LOs. And it's very similar
in
to
23, Tom. In 23, you're at 300 LOs. And today in 2 years later, you're at 1,200.
Yeah, but you know what? By the end of 23, we crossed over 1,000, right? So we had a huge year of bulk.
You grew.
Right? And I consider it, like, I've joked about this. I'm not an MBA student. I don't say I'm not always the brightest bulb on the tree, but I do know when there's something that works. And you watch people that work out, they bulk a lot of times before they cut, right? And I've had the honor of networking with people that have done it before me. Even people that haven't even been in the industry as longer, but maybe they found success in a way that was rapid. It's like, okay, well, what happened? Like, and that's the great part that we never had in this industry before, and why I'm still passionate about collaboration is I get to share with people. Like, it's not a playbook to where somebody's stealing something from you, right? It's like you and I, if you had a race winning horse and you put me on it, that I probably am in last place still, right? But the jockey that's been riding it and knowing how to do it and understanding how that horse, how it operates, it's the driver, right? It's not the business plan, right? The business plan in our industry, especially the way that we run our company here, is about as simple as what it can be. However, the riders are different, and the markets that they're in are different. The relationship styles are different, right? If I'm talking to, I had a coaching call this morning with a gal named Liz Rich in Texas. She lives in a rural town, 3,200 people. And she's like, I don't have the luxury of going and setting up a coffee today, right? Because I don't have maybe 2 agents that are in my market, and the rest are 2-3 hours away. I got to go to Austin. I got to go to Dallas. So for me, it's a game of how many people can I touch on a daily basis to find who I'm going to relate to, who's going to actually like the way that I operate. And that can be different than where I'm at. For me, I'm in a fairly suburban area with a couple million people. So it's easy for me. I can throw a stone and hit a realtor in the head without even trying. However, that's where, to me, it's like, okay, that jockey has to be a little different, right? And they have to understand what works in their business model may not work here, but what will work is like taking that inventory and see, right? Like who's successful there and what are they doing? And can you copy it, right? And I'll tell you, like some people like, oh, I can't believe somebody copied me this. That's the best form of flattery. It means you're doing something right. So yeah, three a month would be to where everyone is making, they're making a good living. They're constantly trying to improve. And as you know, even with personal friendships, you are who you surround yourself with. And I don't want to surround myself with people that aren't willing to do the work, right? That aren't willing to understand that answering a call on Sunday afternoon, I'm not being bothered. I'm blessed. Like I get to help someone. I get to get that phone call. Even if I'm on vacation, I'll tell clients all the time, like, I'm sorry to bother you. I know you're on vacation. Like I get to be on vacation because of you,
Right.
If you weren't calling me, there would be no vacations. There would be no, ability to even pay the dang internet or it's like, you have to really understand the basics of, effort in, effort out, and really just operate coming from a point of gratitude.
Yeah. And I think that managing 3 is at your level is really a big task. Like if you had 20 LOs and getting to 3, it's probably a different task. At 1,200 LOs and getting to 3, that's a freaking huge task. And actually, Tom, it's probably a big ask, really. And I've just really watched you and, watched how you're hiring and all of the lessons that you've learned over these last few years. You just continue to get better and better and better and better, but so do your LOs.
And that's the goal, right? At the end of the day, when you actually make a difference in someone's life, you actually help them hit a new milestone, the rewarding feeling of helping someone, which is really for the majority of us why we're in this industry. I'll say the ones that are successful, right? I think those that come into it because, yes, you can make a lot of money.
Sure.
They barely find the success, right? Because you're chasing money instead of chasing really trying to help people. The most successful loan officers I have here, like I sat down with Major yesterday on one of his coaches. It was fun. Yesterday was a day that I tried to mirror another leader that I respect that says, hey, I like to mirror everyone in my team to see what they're doing. So it's like, okay, I see where that would work. So yesterday I had my coaching call in the morning. I had 3 other leaders within the company that all run they're the leaders, right? My job at this point to support them is fairly easy. I pay on time. I make sure that we have a good company reputation. I make sure they're proud of the culture that the company runs and how can I support them? But they're off on their own, right? I don't ever try to, it's not it's a partnership. I guess that's what I'd like to say with my top producers, because it's for them. If they can help more people, they're going to do more good in the world, right? They're going to look at ways to where, I'll highlight Major, another one of our top guys. The more money that guy makes, the more people he helps in his life, right?
For sure.
And there's a lot of personal things that I can't share that he does because he probably wouldn't want me to. But I will tell you, like the most successful people, it's not about money or hitting a new number. It's about the fact of like, with this, I can do more good. And when you start to surround yourself by people like that, you become a better leader, right? Because then it's, I see like, even you, some of the things that you'll do, I'm sure it's hard to get past the board, right? It's like, Chris, is this going to really turn the dial?
What's the ROI, right?
I don't know. right? But I know that it's the right thing to do. And I know
Yeah.
that we have a good time and we have genuine connections to where I love to see those around me continue to succeed and do better. And with that mindset, I feel it's like it's the giver's gain mentality, right? I'll do well for others. And for me, my faith believes that if I do well for the people around me, God will take care of me.
Yeah, yeah, and he has. By the way, Major is the biggest heart. What an incredible, what an incredible human, really. You're blessed to have Major as part of your company. He
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
cool cat,
Todd,
man.
I mean, Elizabeth,
Todd,
Eric. I mean, we have so many people that
Eric,
are there. It's partnership, right? It's
yeah,
like I had somebody try to attack a few of them this last week on, I'm going to try to recruit. It's like, it'd be silly. I mean, I always like to have a little bit of sense of humor. It'd be like me if I was single, reaching out to Shalise and saying, hey, there you
yeah,
go. Like, it's stupid. Like, you're wasting your time when you have connections with people, and it's not about money. It's about the fact, like, are we aligned on the same mission? Like, are we both in the trenches together to serve and to help and to make sure with the more that we receive is the more we give and the more we do to help everybody else around us. And that's really been the culture here that's helping my mission, which is I want to see people do better. I want to see them
yeah,
at 3 a month. There's not a question of whether or not you have the best technology from a CRM or you want to have open house swag bags and execute on those things. If you're not doing, 3 loans a month, it's tough because you got bills to pay,
hmm
and you're struggling. So yeah, we've made a drastic improvement. I think at the end of 23, we're at like 0.7. And right now we're getting close to touching about $1 billion a month in fundings, right around 2,300 loans a month, to where we're right at about the crest of 2 is an average.
yeah.
And I'm not going to stop until we get there, and I know we will. Part of that
I
is
know you will too.
also I'm not trying to be the biggest when it comes to number count, right? But I want to just make sure the people that we have that we're investing into their growth and making sure, hey, are they getting everything that they need to succeed? Because then at that point, it's really simple. I need them to look in the mirror and say, hey, here's the tracker that we use. Let's look at what those activities are. And doing that from a coaching style is what even works best for me. It's like I've tried this year to get into shape more. But then I look at what I'm eating. And it's like, okay, ordering pizza at 11 o'clock at night and you're saying you want to be in shape. Those two and two don't go together. Saying you want to do 3 loans a month minimum and you've made 3 phone calls and you have, 2.5 hours of talk time on your phone, but you have 7 hours of scrolling social media. The numbers aren't going to lie. So to me, a lot of times it's just making sure that people see, are they doing what the activities that are going to yield the results of what they're searching for? And sometimes it takes time.
Yeah. Oh, it does. It's not an overnight thing. I told my loan officers today, a lot of people will walk up to the water, but not everybody will get in. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Let's switch gears for a sec. Yeah, sure. Big topic, big thing throughout our community of comp plans and all of this. And let me ask you a question. When a loan officer is looking to leave another company,
Yeah.
that's right. Besides comp plan, what other things are important? Because there's no one talking to more loan officers than you. What's important today?
There's a few different things I will say are the biggest hot topics, right? One of them, especially for me, I don't really like to recruit from the broker channel. It's kind of pointless, To me, we're all selling the same products. Our comps are similar. The only time that ever happens is if the culture is off, right? They feel
the culture is one.
Yeah, it's if they're in a toxic work environment, they don't feel that they can really have the flexibility to make decisions that they need to be successful in their mind, even if it's bogus, right? Even if what they're telling themselves is wrong. I would rather somebody fail on their own, if it's a dying need, because if not, they're so stuck on something that they need to learn for themselves. And honestly, that's how I am. I need to learn for myself. You could tell me, I'd be the one to walk up to the water and like, I'm not drinking that. No. And it's like, well, listen, if you don't drink this, you're going to die. Sometimes I'm so stubborn that I won't drink it. So I've had to die before from that aspect, right? Like I really have. So I relate that to some of the people to where I want to give them the opportunity to hang themselves, as sad as what that is. But it's also a point of leadership to where I want to create other leaders. I don't just want to create good employees. And I think for all of us, we've went through failures to be able to get where we're at. Then luckily enough, I have a friendship enough with you. We've had some private talks. You've went through failures the same as I have. Sure. And you know what? That's formed who we are today. So it's like, it's part of the process of understanding, learning to, it comes back to learning to ask for help, right?
Yeah.
Learning to actually have some good mentors around you and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Can I level set this with you? And like, what do you think about this? Right. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's probably been the biggest change in the last year or two, to where I try not to make as many decisions without consulting people to just bounce it off of them. Like, because sometimes you'll see something different when you're standing outside compared to when you're in the middle of the storm. So culture is one of them. Obviously, comp, you brought that up. I mean,
comp's got to be part of the equation.
Yeah, I think with margin compression, and it's going to continue as things get faster and easier and cheaper. Technology is just getting so rapidly; it's learning so quick that
crazy.
Who knows what's going to happen with it? I think the days of making 275 basis points per loan probably not going to be that much longer, in my opinion, unless somebody's gouging clients. And the reality is you'll probably have to do twice as much business to make the same amount of money. But from a time perspective, you're still spending the same amount of time. So comp's a big one. The other, sometimes, and I've had someone recently that just didn't feel how they wanted to feel, right? I don't know how to say it other than that, to where somebody wants to be maybe catered to in a way that it's not always that way on the broker side, right? Like it's pretty clear to where the relationships are built on an individual level. I'll step in and help anytime. However, some people want to be able to make sure that they're the ones that have those. And that doesn't happen overnight, right? If you're,
do you think that's process? Do you think that's feel or process?
I think it's both, right? I think the feel comes secondary to the process, because the process is going to develop the relationship over time, right? Like even for our relationship, I couldn't have texted you without actually getting to know you and you understanding how I work and you work, and say, hey, I think somebody's wrong. And a lot of times in the heat of the moment, we're flying, right? Email may come off with an attitude that it's like, well, who the hell does this guy think he is? Of course, compared to like, I know how Chris thinks. There's no way that this guy does not want to help somebody get this done, not only for the loan officer, but for the homeowner. However, we still have to deliver a sellable product. And, this person says they're full-time on their VOE, but we've got 2 months worth of pay stubs. It's from 22 hours to 38. And like, we got to level set here and have a conversation. Right. So sometimes, to be able to get up to that point to where you're talking to decision makers in this industry, it takes time through that process of understanding who those people are and actually building the rapport enough to know that you can be wrong and still walk away and still feel satisfied. Because I don't win every battle, but I will tell you that I do a lot of battles. And that's part of one of the things I would say that's different with me compared to other executive leaders in the industry, is I'm on the front lines dealing with, like on your deal, I'll deal with Kevin, I'll deal with a lot of your leaders on secondary market stuff. And it's like, okay, hey, I want to challenge you on this. And here's why, but we'll have a good conversation. I may win 50% of the time. The other 50% I don't. And I lost, but I see the point, right? I learned something because now I'm going to be able to know next time before I go into this fight. Here's a reality, right? Sometimes the agency shrinks on things and their opinion's different. And if you're having buybacks on stuff that we're doing, that's a bad relationship. I can't come to you then and say, hey, Chris, how do we focus on growing more if we're growing on bad loans?
Right.
It doesn't work. That's great. I don't want a business that's not going to be fruitful for both of us. So
I think you give loan officers a voice. Like you're so good at communicating with LOs and help doing this right here or helping solving problems for LOs. You know, if you're a loan officer closing 3 loans, how big a voice are you going to have with all these wholesale lenders? But when they have Tom, you're going to have a big ass voice. And I think you do a great job and you pick up the phone. I've been with you several times and I've watched you. I'm like, he's good. You can multitask as good as anybody, and you can swing, talk on the phone, and leave a voicemail all within 30 seconds. And I'm like, what the hell? And get a birdie. And I'm like, what the hell happened? That's a gift, my friend. That is a gift.
It definitely has its pros and cons because one of the things that we always have to work on too is like some things you shouldn't be multitasking while you're doing.
Probably, sure.
But that's just how I am. I always joked with people, like even kids that we do some internships here, and kids will be like, "Well," I'm like, "What are you into?" Like, "Well, I really like playing video games." I'm like, okay, good. So did I. And your eye and hand coordination on how quick you can move and get things done on a screen. I'm going to tell you, if you can get your mouth to talk in a way that you can listen and do the same thing, it's a really good industry for you, right? And
that's true.
Weird. I've seen people that were gamers when they were younger absolutely crush it in mortgage because even for me, I relate this industry at this point to kind of playing Monopoly. Another thing that I like that's really simple, like the game isn't over, right?
Right.
And I want to keep winning. I want to try to get a little bigger. I want to try to, it's fun. The competition aspect in this industry is fun to the point to where, even it's hard for me to say this because for a while him and I didn't get along. Even like Mike, from one of my competitors, like him and I have actually become somewhat friends. As crazy as what that sounds, but because it's competitive, but at the same time, like he rolled something out, and I'm cheering him on, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not. To me, there isn't anything that's ever going to stop me from being successful besides me. It's not going to be somebody else, right? If you're not hitting what you want to hit as your goals, there's nobody else to look at besides the mirror, right? It's you. What are the actions that you did?
Yeah, it's no one else's fault.
That's it. So yeah, I think the basics: comp, culture, price doesn't really matter in wholesale because
you have options.
Yeah, and that's why for me, why we have 200 some lenders. Do you need them? No, right? You really need a solid 3 or 4, but at the same time, what's going to happen in the future? Yeah, nobody knows, right?
Nobody else. Knows.
So it's just always as we learn and evolve, it's like always preparing for the unknown, right? So,
I'll ask the question.
Outside of that, I think somebody feeling that they have pride in their business. And I think that for a lot of them, they feel like a number in retail, right? Like if you're in a large retail shop and even if you're a producer, your value is the money that you make the company. And for me, I can give probably 30 or 40 people that have left me that I've helped them open their own company. And we still talk. We still are on coaching calls sometimes together to where like, hey, I want to share something with you that's working. To where to me, it's not always about what you're giving to me. It's like, what can I do to help you? Like, what can I do to help you achieve the goals that you have? And when people feel that and it's genuine, you can't fake it. It kind of makes you to where, like, for me, I'm not worried about anybody recruiting people from my team, or if somebody wants to leave, I'm going to do them right on the way out and make sure that they're taken care of. And this is, you and I think you got a couple of years on me, but we're young enough that we're going to be in this industry to see a lot more changes. And who knows what's going to happen. But one thing I do know, I'm going to be one stand. I'm going to be standing there still, and I'm still going to be kicking ass as much as we possibly can.
I love that. You do a lot of coaching too, which some companies do and some companies don't. You've mentioned it several times just today about coaching. What if I'm gonna come work for you? What's coaching look like as an LO underneath you, Tom?
Yeah, a little different. there isn't a set answer to that, because one thing that I've always tried to do is identify other people in the organization that have skill sets that speak to someone in the way that they listen. Right. To me,
Mm-hmm.
you can have some of the best speakers in the world, and somebody says how much they love them. And there's going to be somebody else who are like, I didn't understand anything that guy said. Flew over my head. So to me, it's been about diversifying that. And like, okay, we have probably a dozen coaching calls throughout the week with different people. Like, even to the point that one of my leaders in Arizona has started like our Edge Fitness family, right? But he's also does coaching to where it's like he's coaching on the fitness side, but he's also coaching on the mortgage side and showing things. So for me, a lot of it's the basics. I'm a very nuts and bolts type of person, to where I don't do a lot of just listening to somebody talk. I want to say, okay, here is what you need to do to be successful. And if you execute off of it, you will be. And you're not, yeah. And that's why you and I think like your coaching style worked for me when I sat through your sales meeting with your LOs. Here's the actions, here's the results. And then if we're in a business of making cakes, I don't know why I think cakes. I'm always hungry.
You got cake on your mind?
Yeah, probably. But the point is, it's like there's a recipe for it, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Like, there's going to be 50% of the people that don't like you, no matter what you do, no matter who you call. And there's going to be 50% that maybe do, but they already, 30-40% of them already have a good enough relationship that you don't get a shot. So you got a 10% success rate. How many loans you want to do a month? You want to do 3 a month? Okay. Do the reverse engineer it. The numbers are there to where I'm going to find somebody that likes me, right? For you as a loan officer, you're going to find someone that likes you. If you call 10 people, you may find one that not only you like, but they like. And then it comes down to respect, right? Friendships are based off of respect. And if you respect somebody's work ethic, you respect the way they do business, you respect the way they communicate with clients, you're going to want to work with them. So you have to look at it and say, is the way that I operate my business in a way that demands respect? When I see that this morning, and I still originate, hey, appraisal schedule at 10:30 today, and I see an email, do I just ignore it? And well, they know it's going to be done on time. Or do I communicate extra and take that extra step that I know that person's going to appreciate, right? Yeah. And you can automate some of the stuff too. But the reality of it is, like, you need to be somebody that earns respect from your clients and your realtor partners on every transaction. And when you do that, then the natural progression of finding success in this business just happens. It happens naturally because the recipe's built. It's done every day. I know I'm calling and talking with people. I know the way that I'm going to conduct myself, even when things go wrong, is going to be something that when that realtor, if that deal blew up, they're going to leave. It's like, I really respect the way that that person handled it. And the last person I dealt with beat around the bush, wouldn't tell me what's going on. And it just created chaos. And now I lost that client too. Well, they lose a client. Not only is that a lot of money for them, but more importantly, it's the chain of business for us, because we don't do marketing here, right? I'll say we don't do marketing as in we're not having our phones ring from people calling in that we don't know. Our marketing is organic, which is built on respect.
Yeah. Yeah. Tom, Hallie asked, what was the most surprising challenge in scaling growth at such a large organization? Like to sum that up, what was some surprising challenges as you scaled up to where you are today?
The hardest part is staying consistent on policies, I would say. Right. Like, there are some things that people will say, like, we pay people if they recruit someone. And however, they need to close at least 1 loan a month. I'm a giver, so I like to make exceptions. And as you grow, every exception you make makes you a weaker leader, because then you can't be consistent. And as hard as what it is to say no sometimes, it's just like parenting. Right? Like, I would literally I'll say the shirt, I'd give the skin off my back for my own daughter. But sometimes I got to say no. And as much as I want to say yes, it's really for the better of her, like, understanding. But for a company, it's having that consistency to where there isn't a favoritism played. There isn't you have to be consistent in how you treat your business. And as we grown to the point to where when there's 10 or 15 of you or 20 or even 100 and you know everybody's name, it's okay to have a couple variances along the way. But when you get to the size to where you scale and you're doing, $10 billion a year in fundings, you have to be consistent with what your policies and procedures are, even if it means that person may have to go through a little bit of a hard time in accepting it. Right. And for me, I'm very much like I root for the guy at the bottom. Right. Even to the point where we have minimum production requirements. Yet I tell people, if you don't meet it and you take this no and don't call me, then I made the right decision. Right. If you take that no and you call me and you explain why and you sell me, I'm gonna hire you. And there's people that work for me that work with me that had no production. What we don't hire people with no production that have came and said, here's why. Here's why I have no production, and here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to be accountable to this, and I'm going to promise you, good, because guess what's going to happen when you get out there and you call an agent and like, hey, I'm Tom, you're going to get punched in the face and told no 100 times. So if you can't overcome objection right away, they're not getting in the door, right? So yeah, probably the hardest part was scaling for me. And part of that is I have really good team members here. Like my COO, Nick, handles a lot of the stuff that I don't like doing, right? And I think that's important too as you scale, making sure that you have people that you get to focus on what your strengths are. And it's, I've been fortunate from that aspect that I don't have to deal with a lot of stuff I don't like, right? I just get to focus on really doing what I did on the origination side, building relationships, fueling growth, coming up with ideas to really help hit the goals that I have personally, which is how do we improve production per LO, which is going to help them? And how do I help more people see that the broker channel really is the best side to originate if you are self-sourced and you have a book of business that you've built through organic relationships?
Yeah, I want to also make sure everybody listening to this or you're listening later to this is that Tom said that he still did origination. Like I find so many owners that become owners, they get like 10 LOs and they're like, yeah, I'm out of production. I'm like, whoa, what? No, go back to production. I made that mistake. I got out of production too soon. Go back. What? Go back. I go, yeah. You need way more LOs before you can get out. Your biggest value is producing, and that is the attractive magnet. What's your thoughts on that? I know you're passionate about it because otherwise you still wouldn't be producing.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to be that for everyone, because sometimes you will have a partner that maybe has a better they're better at running the business. And I'll say the business is in the call reports, the accounting, there's so much in running a business once it gets to scale like this that it's not a one size fits all. However, you need to have a leader in the organization that takes that role for you. If you're the face of the organization as the CEO and you don't originate, there's nothing wrong with that. But you need to make sure that there's somebody in the organization that you've also elevated. And I would say they should have a C-suite title to make sure that they are tied to it, that people can actually know that this person is there to help them and they're in the trenches. For me, it was just a promise that I made myself in 08, right? Built a successful company, stopped originating, and I relied on other people to make a paycheck for me. I never want to do that again. And I respect, if I was going to work with someone, I want to make sure I can have a conversation about what the business is, right? Like what's going on? How's underwriting right now? What are you seeing in consistency? Like to me, these are the things that I try to dial in on to make the entire organization better and say, okay, hey, here, like we'll have some lenders that will accept something and some that won't. Well, how do you know? Like, it's not a situation where a single LO that comes that's doing three, they're hitting the goal, they're averaging three, they're doing 36 loans a year. 36 loans a year, they still aren't going to know all of that. But if you're not only originating myself, I just should cross over 100 closed transactions this month. Not this month, for the
year.
Yeah. No, not doing 100 a month,
and 1,200 LOs.
Yeah. So, but
and recruiting.
Yeah, but it's important. It's all part of the same thing. You're just having conversations, right? I mean, the origination side of it nowadays with technology and great partners, especially like Windsor. I have one right now on a bridge loan that your team has been outstanding. Hey, Tom, the communication is real simple. You answer your damn phone. Hey, I saw that our appraiser that we assigned this to can't get the order report done by the time that your closing date is. Do you want to do a rush fee, or do you want to, like, if you're letting those calls go to voicemail as an LO and you're wondering why you're not having the success that you should have, and you're blaming it on Windsor or whatever other lender you're using?
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, the communication's there with you guys. I've been very, very impressed lately how well things are running as you're scaling as well too. But that's one thing that has not slowed down, and it's almost improved, in my opinion, over the last 2 years.
Oh, that means a lot. Let's go. You got to be getting excited. Let's talk about AIM for a sec. I mean, you wear that hat too.
Yeah.
You wear that hat too. I love your smile right there. I love your smile. So got a big event coming up.
We do. Yep.
Talk about it.
Fuse we're in Nashville this year, which should be really fun. And to me,
I mean, is there Cowboy Tom? Is that a thing?
I tried. I think I did Cowboy Tom when I went to your Windsor event. I still have that's where I bought my first cowboy hat, and I got the big belt buckle. We'll have fun, right? I mean, at the end of the day, one thing that I love about our leadership there with Jonathan right now is him and I align so well on the collaboration and cooperation between competitors, right? It's like we're all on the same team. None of us are running into each other, maybe on recruits from time to time, but good. I'd rather have them running into us than running into competing with cross country. And that's it nonstop. Or some of the larger IMBs, to where as we continue to take more market share, we do better together compared to apart. And that's really, this year we have a lot of cool speakers come in. We bring a lot of good technology to the forefront. It's one of those to where, for me, whether I serve with AIM or not, I still love being a part of it, because one, I get to hear and see others that are doing great things, that are doing it different than I am. And if you're going to those events and you're just there for whatever reason, and you're not really diving in and having quick 15, 20-minute conversations, hey, tell me how your process goes with this. You would be surprised how many people that are part of that association that just love to help people, right? Like that align with that same spirit of giving, right? Like, I want to share with you what has worked for me. And, to me, I still leverage that group almost on a daily basis for ideas and collaboration. And, hey, this is what's working for Go Rascal in New York. This is what's working for Empire. This is what's working for so-and-so. And it's not like, ooh, I reinvented the wheel. Like, get rid of the ego, right? Yeah. Show up as a team, like team broker in those events. And that's the greatest part about it. We have good community, right? We have a Facebook group that people are interacting, where you actually get to know people, right?
Yeah.
I had, I think it was last week, I had Thomas Sloan and his wife out to our house for a couple of days. I probably got 30 messages. Thomas is coming to Edge. Like, no, he's not. No, he's happy where he's at. He's a friend of mine. Like, it's not everything is about, if you don't serve me, then you're dead to me. And there's some people that operate that way. Yeah. That's not me. I don't really care. I love those guys. I love to see them do good. And there's no food being taken off of my plate. I'm still eating. And so everyone else around,
Yeah. Yeah. And even if you're for retail and you're thinking about going to the broker world, I got a lot of retail loan officers that watch this. I will say, no better place to go and check it out and get a great feel, and actually be able to observe conversation, talk to wholesale lenders, talk to owners, originators across the country, than coming to AIM Fuse.
Spot on. Just go and be a fly on the wall and say you're a loan officer. And if they ask what company and you're with a big IMB, you don't got to tell them. Just say that I work for Min Mortgage, right? And go and listen and watch. You will see, the community factor with brokers is completely different. You're never going to see two big IMBs talking about how they can serve clients better. typically, right? I've never been to an IMB conference, so speaking from a little bit of a point of ignorance, but at the same time, I've also recruited thousands of retail originators that will tell me this never happened, right? Or
Right.
luckily we're licensed now in 49 states, but New York's one that we're not still licensed in, to where, hey, send it to this guy. He'll take care of you, right? And then what ends up happening? Oh, he's got a deal in a state that even though he's licensed, or the company has a license, he doesn't want to go through it. He'll return the favor.
Right.
There's good people in both industries, but to actually go and see how we operate, how the culture is as a whole, is very attractive for a lot of people. I've met a lot of retail LOs that have showed up and like, okay, this is crazy. I wasn't going to do this until, I saw Chris speak, or I saw this other leader speak, or this leader speak. And what they said, just really, this is where I've had such a problem. Like, no, knowledge is powerful, but if you don't seek it, you can't expect it to come to you, right? So it's a good time. Nashville, Tennessee. I'll say reach out to me if you are retail LO and want to join.
Yeah.
I got you, right? Tom at
Yeah.
Aim Group.
DM Tom, and he'll take care of you.
It's an easy one. Tom at aimgroup.com. AIME.
Super easy. Super easy. Tom, I gotta say, I am impressed, proud, to call you a friend, but to watch your growth over the last few years, it's just awesome. And then you're still at a giver mindset. You just don't quit. You just continue to give and give and get. And I'm like, is Tom the Energized Bunny or what? Like his batteries never go low. My batteries get low sometimes, but your batteries never get low.
They tell me what my battery is. That's why I finally, with our whole fitness coaching group, I got one of these, and it's like, your battery's drained. You slept, and I don't believe in the whole like not sleeping thing. I try to get my 6 hours, still be plugged in, but it's a lifestyle, right? It really is. And I don't want to say it defines who I am, because I think no matter what industry I am in, and I've been in other industries to where it was the same way, I like the lifestyle of what mortgage is. They have some amazing people. Most people have some really cool stories if you dig in, and like, nobody's saying, besides your kids maybe, that they thought that they were going to be in mortgage when they grew up, right?
Well, Shelby's going to be a veterinarian.
Yeah, well,
it didn't work out.
No, that's all right. I think she's got the same hustle that you do, with a splash of her mother's hustle as well too. So I think she's gonna do just fine. But yeah, I really appreciate it, Chris. Appreciate the partnership, the support through AIM, that you've been a part of that, and seeing the value that's there. Just look forward to, as you mentioned, battery's not going to run out. You and I are going to keep dominating for as long as we can for the next 15, 20 years.
That's right. That's right. Thanks for being on Coaching with Chris, Tom. Really, truly appreciate you.
Everyone have a great day.